Hello and welcome to Moving Beyond Stigma. This is Michelle Crossman and I am here today with another very special guest. Today I would like you to please welcome Nicole Inica Hamilton, a multifaceted artist, dance educator, radio host, and counselor. She's an award-winning choreographer, certified educator, guest instructor, mentor, speaker, and the artistic director of Inica Dance Industries. Nicole works in dance, health, and science, is the host and producer of Turnout Radio. Since our first meeting, Nicole is definitely someone that I have looked up to, and I'm honored to be interviewing her today. Thank you so much for being here, Nicole.
Thank you as well for having me. What a lovely opening. Thank you for having me. I just want to share some love in this space for you as well. I appreciate not only the invitation, but also the joy that you bring into the space every time I happen to run into you at events and other scheduled moments that we've had. But I truly do appreciate you, Michelle, and I really do want to thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much. It's, as I mentioned, I'm just going to share this story quickly. I've already shared it with you, but just to let our listeners hear this as well, that this one, for me personally, was a bit of a full circle moment. And I let you know this on one of our previous phone calls, that my first meeting with you on Turnout Radio was my first time speaking publicly on a radio station and using my voice in that way. And it was one of the many things that inspired me and kind of had like a trickle-down effect in my life over the years for even just wanting to start this podcast in the first place. And how lovely it is just to kind of reconnect years later and still continue these wonderful conversations.
I love that story.
Me too. It's very, very cool.
I do. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. I do remember the first time we had met when you had come on to my radio show, and it was such a lovely interaction. And we had an opportunity to really delve into some very meaningful conversation. Mm-hmm. And so to learn how that full circle has sat with you these years is truly special. So thank you for sharing it. I remember that conversation. It was quite impactful.
Yes, it was for me as well. It was definitely, it was a very beautiful moment, that's for sure.
And here we are again.
As we move forward, I would love to ask you just to share a little bit more about yourself.
Absolutely. I often like to describe myself as being somebody who is a lover of people. I truly am. I'm a lover of humans. And beyond that, you had shared other aspects of my life, which is that, yes, I am indeed the artistic director of Inica Dance Industries and a choreographer. I have been a dance educator for many years, well over 30 years, and also work within dance health and science. I've been a counselor for 25 years, and I have the wonderful pleasure of sitting in spaces with individuals in those capacities that I've just described, where we have an opportunity to engage and to learn about one another, to learn about what makes us feel good and safe and happy, to learn about the fears that we have, and so much more. And so in addition to those capacities, I am, as you had mentioned, also the producer and host of Turnout Radio. And that show, Michelle, is, in addition to the other spaces that I mentioned, Turnout Radio is such a special place for me. A place where, sitting across from individuals like yourself, I've had the the incredible opportunity to hold space and to also be held by others, and to explore conversations about how we move in time and space, but also what causes us to stop and pause during the trajectory of our lives. To sit and discuss on this show oral traditions and our health practices and so much more, Michelle, has just been so special.
Yeah.
And so Turnout Radio is one of those other fabulous spaces that I have the thrill of spending a great deal of my time in. And so those are some of the aspects and spaces that I spend time in. I am, as you mentioned, also a mentor. I mentor in many different spaces, including at Inica Dance Industries, at NIA Center for the Arts, George Brown College, and numerous amount of other spaces. The hats don't stop,
They
Michelle.
don't. They do not.
I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I am so many things. And so, yes, the hats live on in time and space.
They do. And I love how interconnected so many of the hats are. And it's just being an artist and being someone who is so open to giving and receiving is such a beautiful gift. I think it's just so special when we get to share that with other people, you know, especially because life is so busy all of the time. It's so easy to just keep going and overbook your schedules and all of these things that can be draining. And, you know, going and finding the root of it all and what inspires us and what creates that fuel of passion inside of us and wanting to support other people and mentor people and share stories and support the arts and all of these things, how beautifully interconnected it can all be, is just something that can feel so rare. So I think it's incredibly important to share how big and how diverse all of those hats can be. It's such a powerful thing to be talking about and sharing. And I'm so glad that you are able to wear as many hats as you do. And it's very inspiring. One thing that really clicked in my mind when you were speaking was being a lover of people.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. You know, a few things sat with me as you shared, and one of them is this. From a very young age, I knew I wanted to move through life doing something where I was taking care of other people. But also I wanted to move through life knowing that I would also be taken care of.
Yes.
And so I remember being quite young and saying to my mother, she had asked me one day, she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I thought to myself, well, dance, of course.
Of
Mom.
course, yes.
You know, like that's a thing. Like, that's going to happen. And she said, okay, you know, what else? What are the things that you want to do? I started listing off all of these things to her. I said that I wanted to be a kinesiologist, and I want to be a pediatrician. And I just started listing off all of these things. And I remember having the same conversation with my pastor at a very young age. And at that time, they both were saying, oh, you can do all the things that you want to do, Nicole. And what stood out for me was just how much they cheered me on. It didn't matter how many things I listed off. They encouraged me and inspired me to believe and to know and to stand in the space of knowing that I could do any of it that I wanted to. And they found that common ground, that what you desire to do, Nicole, is to serve people. You have the desire to serve people with your heart. That didn't come easy. I don't mind sharing with you. That did not come easy because I recognized, and so did my mother at a very young age, that serving people with your heart can often mean that sometimes your heart is hurt during the process.
Yes.
And so growing up, I had to figure it out. How do I serve people? How do I love on people while also finding ways to love on myself and protect myself during those pathways? And so there absolutely, to come to another piece that you had shared, there absolutely there's a connectivity among all of the things that I do. There is. And and I'm laughing to myself because I remember running into a friend many years ago, and they were asking, so what do you do now? And when I shared with them, they said, oh, they're all kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought you just said that you're a dance educator. I am. Oh, but I hear you say that you're a counselor?
Yeah.
But in my mind, they all connected, and so to come to the conversation today and hear you say, that it really is true. For me, they are connected because in every single one of the spaces that I've just shared with you, I get to do the thing that I enjoy the most, Michelle, which is to love people.
Yeah.
To exchange love, to share love, to be love, to love people.
Yeah. And that right there is just so powerful, and listening to that feels like the definition of just someone aligning with and sitting in their purpose and just being like, yes, I am going to do all of this.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I come back to the not easy part.
Yes.
It started to feel from a young age, being so open with how much I enjoy loving people, at times felt harmful for me. I was exposing myself, and very often told as a child, you're too sensitive. You're too sensitive, and toughen up, and and remove some of that sensitivity. And so it became very difficult at times to show up as my soft self in spaces, because being soft and sensitive, I didn't always feel that was something that was celebrated. It was often something that I was told I needed to change about myself. But I'm so grateful for individuals like my mother and the right leaders in my life, the right mentors in my life, who taught me to embrace that sensitivity. There's nothing shameful about it. There's nothing wrong about the softness. Embrace it. Wear it. Live it. Breathe through it. And it took me some time. It really took me some time, Michelle. When I say time, I mean time of really growing up and getting older and finally coming into the knowing, the awareness that softness is beautiful as well.
It is.
That softness is also courageous. And that softness and sensitivity is also tough. And so it's the language, I think, that sometimes we humans use when we tell individuals that you are too sensitive. Having been on the receiving end of that, I'm aware of the potential dangers of saying those words to someone. And now, living and breathing as a soft, sensitive human, I'm grateful for it. And it's not something that I sat in, as I said. I wasn't sitting in the gratitude as a younger human for it because I didn't understand it. Why am I so soft? Why is everyone telling me it's the wrong way to be? But I'm grateful for growing older, grateful for those right humans in my life who taught me there's nothing wrong with it, to embrace it. And so that's where I come back to the difficult part of it, growing up, the challenges. But there is beauty in finding your way through it.
Absolutely. Can be a very difficult but very beautiful journey to be able to just understand and just sit with who you are and then embrace it and celebrate it. I have a quote that I wrote one time to one of my students a few years ago. It was a quote that helped me. I don't know where I got it. I might be probably read it somewhere. I'll be honest. I'm not sure. But they reminded me a lot of me when I was much younger and just very quiet and soft. And then again, feeling almost ashamed of the softness and wanting to be what they weren't because they were supposed to be something else. So I remember working with them on a solo and I wrote it out for them. And I was like, I want you to keep this so you can remind yourself that there is power in softness. And that was a really big moment for me that I realized afterwards, like after I said it and wrote it down for them, I was like, oh, that is something I tell myself all of the time because society around us often does not recognize.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm like, we need that outside reminder. And we can be very lucky to have supportive people who remind us of this. Sharing that with other people, especially when you can see that in them, that little glimmer, and letting them know, like, no, it's okay. It's good, actually. It's great. You don't need to hide that. Like, it's beautiful. But, it just gives them, hopefully, that little bit of hope, that little bit of a reminder of, no, it is okay that I'm not what everyone says I should be. Like, this is great.
Absolutely. And it's self-honoring, isn't it? We as humans take a moment to recognize the fullness of who we are and to appreciate that, to love that, to care for it, to nurture it. I really, truly consider it to be self-honoring. Yeah. I mentioned the dangers of telling someone, for example, that they're too sensitive. And I before I go to that, I want to come to something that you shared when you spoke about the power in softness. All the hairs on the back of my neck. Because there is such, truly exactly that. There is power in softness. Yes. I recognize that power can sometimes mean that it holds a certain amount of compassion for humans. When we're walking in that power that you mentioned, the power in softness. Softness, I have found, for me personally, has created a pathway for me to have compassion for other humans. Softness has created a pathway for me to hold space for myself and have compassion for myself when I need to. That power and softness that you shared, I think I want to scream it from the rooftops.
Yes. Yeah.
Because absolutely, in terms of what you mentioned earlier, sometimes in the spaces that we exist in society, if we want to use that word in spaces in general, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the softness is not acknowledged as being power. So to hear you say power and softness, yeah, that's truly all the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. What also comes to mind, Michelle, is that, we all show up in this big, beautiful world differently.
Yes, we do.
And so in whatever way we show up, whether it is self-described as being soft or it's self-described as being hard, or it's self-described as other in another way, honoring the truth of who we are, holding space for the truth of who we are, loving ourselves and each other for the truth of who we are. I think that there is something quite spectacular that can be found in the center of that, because it gives us the opportunity, a greater opportunity rather, to hold space in a way that creates space for us to just be. To just be.
Yeah, I love that. Honoring ourselves and our truth. It's a thing that I think can truly help us just be at more ease and give us the time and space to figure out what we need to find joy, to find the things that we love to do, to find the people that we love to be around, and do it in the least harmful way.
Absolutely. You're causing me to reflect on a workshop series that I created many years ago called Self-Care for the Artistic Soul. And this workshop, I have had the pleasure of teaching it in different universities, in different programs, and at different dance companies, and at conferences, and in every single space. I've learned so much about other people, Michelle, and also about myself whenever I've facilitated this series, this workshop. And one of the things that I talk about in the workshop is, what does it mean? I'm curious to hear the thoughts of others. What does it mean to honor ourselves and each other? What is caring for one another? What is caring for ourselves? What does that mean? And so I find it very interesting that in every conversation, there's a common thread, a common theme about how it is that we care for ourselves and each other. The word honor comes up very often, and the word love comes up very often. There is a quote that I'm thinking of as we're chatting. I wanted to make mention of that workshop because it comes to mind as you're sharing, but also a quote comes to mind about this thing called love, Michelle. One of the books in particular I'm reading is All About Love by Bell Hooks.
Beautiful book.
Oh, Michelle.
Yes, love that book.
Well, there is a few different areas of the book that have sat with me, have caused me to pause, to think. Never have I written down so many different notes.
Yes.
Reminders for myself. And there's a share at the top of the book in the introduction, Grace, Touched by Love. That Jack Kornfield says that it is possible to speak with our heart directly. These are the words, Michelle. It is possible to speak with our heart directly. Most ancient cultures know this. We can actually converse with our heart as if it were a good friend. In modern life, we have become so busy with our daily affairs and thoughts that we have lost this essential art of taking time to converse with our heart. When I ponder on those words and the powerful words of Bell Hooks throughout the course of the book, and those words that I just read, Jack Kornfield, I think about, how do I do that more and more and more? How do I love my fellow people more? How do I love myself more? How do we care for ourselves and each other in heights that allow for greater healing greater care,
Yes.
greater sustainability, greater capacity, all the things, Michelle. How do we do it more to allow for healing?
Yeah.
That word healing, for peace.
Yes.
How do we do it more?
Thank you again for listening, for being here, and for taking part in another episode. Once more, this is Moving Beyond Stigma, and until next time.